Hello, everyone, and we're back with Meet Yourself. And we're going to be talking about navigating midlife metabolism. And the questions that we get with Dr. Laurell and myself are the questions that we're getting from you, the audience. So our questions came in for the week. We have about 22 questions, if you can imagine, and we're going to put some together and hopefully we'll be able to answer some of the questions that have come from our community. The first question that we have, I'm going to look right here, is, oh no, what's happening to my metabolism? Is it slowing down? And how can I boost my metabolism?
Mhm.
And we all know that as we get older, our metabolism does indeed change. Our body type changes, and we change throughout our whole lifetime. But during that perimenopause, menopause stage and beyond, we do encounter some real changes that maybe we're not too happy with. So I'd like to start the conversation or the discussion with what's happening to my metabolism. So
Yes.
let's talk to Dr. Laurell and see where she's going with that. And then we'll talk about ways in which we can boost our metabolism.
Mhm. Excellent. Yes, and I'm noticing it too, where I'm in that perimenopausal stage myself, and I just can't eat like I used to, and And so we know what's going on, that as our hormones change, we're no longer having the female hormones that were buffering our stress hormone cortisol. And so then stress can have a stronger impact on our metabolism that we used to. We know that cortisol can impact how our body responds to insulin, make us more prone to prediabetes and the type of metabolic changes that happen there. So it's a real thing, and so we have to be ready for it.
And we also have changes in our muscle mass. We start to
Yes.
lose some muscle mass. And it's
Mhm.
not that it's our fault, let's say, and what am I doing wrong? It's just the natural evolution of what happens with our bodies. But there are ways in which we can boost. I don't like to use the word boost our metabolism, but let's use that because that's the general theme of really what we're talking about. But how can we manage our metabolism so that we don't put
Mhm.
on the excess visceral fat? And you had just spoken about the the cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone, and it does cause the laying down of fat in areas that we don't want. And I'm using the word fat as a health concern, not what we look like. And that affects our metabolic regulation and what we do. So I'm going to come up with the first thing of what can we do to boost our metabolism. And I would say adjust your diet. Adjust your
Mhm.
diet, as Laurell had said. We can't eat the same type of foods or the same way we used to eat, and everyone is uniquely different. I know when I work with clients, I see what their biochemistry is all about. And I know, Dr. Laurell, you have a degree in biochemistry also. So we look at that whole metabolic scene. One size doesn't fit all in this case.
Absolutely.
And the second idea that I've always had, and I've just recently, I'm on the other side where my metabolism has changed just over the last year. And what I decided is to split my workouts. So instead of doing my longer workouts that I used to once a day, I do two mini workouts. And again, time of day is very important in which that is. And I always incorporate weight bearing exercise in there. And
Mhm.
do you have any tips for us on how we can boost our metabolism during you're in the perimenopause, I'm in the postmenopause. So it's a nice balance that we have here. Are there any tips that you're finding that are useful?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, so we agree on the diet changes, and that you might have to be more careful about certain foods like simple carbohydrates and things along those lines. But it's also a really important time to help manage your stress responses, whether it's working more deeply on managing your stress, or nourishing the adrenals that produce cortisol and helping them have a healthier response to stress, so a lot of women as they age love herbs like rhodiola that help modulate our stress response, and so we can help tackle it that way.
Yeah, the adaptogens are a wonderful resource when we have to really nourish our adrenals, because the adrenals are what take over, everyone. They take over when our ovaries are not producing the hormones that are needed. Our adrenals actually start manufacturing the sex hormones that we've lost. But
Yes.
cortisol competes with those stress hormones. So
Yes.
because of that, we want to really work with that. So there's some points then, I'll just sum up. We want to talk about modulating our dietary changes, and each person is unique, but simple carbohydrates are the first way we can look at how to really make those adjustments. And the next is really exercise, working with both weight-bearing exercise as well as cardiovascular work. And combining those two and staying in a healthy body, because we're looking at the whole body here, the whole body mind complex, and working with stress, which in the groups that I teach, we always have meditation at
Mhm.
the as part of our group, or even our classes and courses. We always incorporate a meditative session in there, because that's the ultimate of really working with that whole mind body interface. Is there anything you'd like to add to that before we go on to the next questions in our next episode?
No, just happy to dig into these other layers deeper.
So we have to meet ourselves, in other words, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being here, and we're going to take more questions. So please keep sending them in.